You want to clean up your mess, please? Oh, good girl. You did. Excellent. Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you're all having a super fantastic, sparkling Tune-Up Tuesday. Oh, I can't believe how much I forget things these days. Yet my brain is still active, and I still remember many things. Let's see. So Tune-Up Tuesday. How was your Tune-Up Tuesday? What tune-ups did you make today in your life, in your business, in your projects, in your music, in your fun? I'm sure that half the time Zeffy's leaving me messages. You know how if you've ever learned orientation, one of the things that I remember learning when I was in school with orientation was not only learning how to use a compass and landmarks and things, but leaving signs for to help you find your way back, to help people follow you, with stones and with sticks and twigs and all of that. And when she leaves her food down on the floor, it kind of takes me back to days of learning of the orientation. I keep thinking, what's she trying to tell me this time? So she has her own little code down there. But that's what it reminds me of. Anyway, how was your Tune-Up Tuesday? What tune-ups did you make today? Did you make any tune-ups in your personal life, in your business life, in the music you listen to? Did you try some new music today? Maybe you tried some new music. If you did, let us know, because I'm always on the lookout for really good music. Did you make any tune-ups to fun activities you've got coming up? Just what tune-ups did you make today? Some people around this area had to make a lot of tune-ups today because we had major thunderstorms. Oh, it was awesome. It was so good. I keep forgetting when the thunderstorms come in how loud it gets in here. I was working on the chat at the time, and I warned the boss. Joe said, look, we've got severe thunderstorm warning watches out at the moment. I said, but I think they're a little late because it's already here. We've definitely been got major thunder going on around us. And I said, and the rain's about to start coming. The rain was coming so hard, and my computer volume was turned all the way up. I could not hear the chats dinging as they come in. So when a chat comes in, it gives you a ding. So you know to go and look and see, is it a new one? Is it a reply to one that I've left out? Why is it dinging? And then we have a communication system that we use that beeps. I could not hear any of those. So I was having to make sure I kept checking the numbers for the 15, 20 minutes that the rain was pounding on the roof. It was hard. And I said to her, I know it sounds really heavy, but I think there might be some hail mixed in there somewhere. But it was just really, really loud. I couldn't even hear Zeffy whining, and she's sitting down here. She's got a paw up there. And I just happened to glance out of my corner of my eye, saw her there, so I had to reach over and give her scratches and stuff. And then she ran off into the bedroom and curled up and went to sleep. That's her in thunderstorms. Curl up and go to sleep, or be at the window and look out the window and see what's going on. But on the help chat today, it was definitely a lot quieter than yesterday. Yesterday was just like crazy, crazy, crazy. And today was a lot quieter. So it was, but still busy, just not as full on as it had been yesterday. Yes, yesterday was a little nutty. Today was still nutty, but just not as nutty. You know what that means. So yeah, I got a little bit of work done outside of the help chat. So that was good. I got some stuff done that I need to do for my projects. I'm still behind on my projects at the moment because of how crazy yesterday was. But we will catch them up. We will definitely catch them up. Now, totally forgot to give you a question for the day for your Tell Your Stories. You had a break from that today. But because being Tuesday, it is Family Tree Research question. And the one I got today, this first came in from Stephanie from Phoenix in Arizona. But then I had other people ask this question as well because they have heard of some of the stories that I have told. And the question was, am I related to someone famous? How do I find out if I'm related to somebody famous? Well, it takes some time and some work. Are there rumors in your family that you are related to somebody famous? That's the first thing. What do you know? Coming back to what do you know? Even if it is a rumor, is it a rumor that you're related to somebody famous? Does it come from your father's side of the family or your mother's side of the family? So you need to know, is there that rumor? Is there the rumor in the family that you're related to somebody famous, and which side of the family is it on? Paternal, which is your father, or maternal, which is your mother? And then from there, you start working back. Again, work with what you know, interview your relatives, and then start researching based on information that you have on hand. And then you start with what you know and start working backwards. And a few famous people, especially historical people, and that many of them, their family trees are online, so you can go back through their family trees and see if there's any names that may be in part of your tree. You know, how far back did they go? It's like when I did the International Genealogical and Historic Research Conference back in July. I did that. July, August, September, sometime around there when I was out for that week. We all had this calculator thing. We had to put our names in, and we were tied to familysearch.org. And with that, we had, of course, when we registered, we had to give certain information and all of that, and it was fed into their database. And they found our trees, and they took our trees back further than what we ourselves had taken. And you could go to this relationship calculator, and it will pull your details up, and then it will tell you, oh, you're related to all of these people, you know, a cousin 10 times removed and all this sort of stuff. And I had in there, was it Princess Diana? I had Elvis Presley. Who else was in there? John Wayne. There was one of the astronauts. I can't remember. I think it was Alan Shepard. I'm not 100% sure on that. But there were these different, and Wild Bill. Was it Buffalo Bill? Buffalo Bill. Actually, they're both in there. Wild Bill and Buffalo Bill were both in there. So it was interesting to see. And then you could put the trees side by side, so you could go through them. And I could see where the path was starting to go. But then it got to the point where I have gone as far back as I've gone with research. Then they had gone back even further. And I'm like looking at this going, really? Well, it's a good place for me to start, because it would take them back to where the common grandparent was, and then it would start down the other side of the tree with whoever this famous person was. And so I'm like looking at it, and in some places I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's possible, because and I'm not sure how accurate this is. And like all of us in the thing, because we also had one where you belong to the group for the conference, and the idea was to meet up with as many relatives as you could find at the conference. And so we'd always start the conversation, well, according to this calculator thing, we're supposedly related. And we always use supposedly. We never use the term we are related, or hey, I see that we're 10th cousins 10 times removed. And if we did that, we'd put supposedly, because we as genealogists know that unless the search is verified, if it's verified sources and everything else, then we're good with it. If there are no verified sources, it's very questionable. So, but when you're researching, family trees and stuff, what rumors have you heard in the family, and which side of the family did they come from? That's the first thing to start with. Then, do you share? Is your first name or somebody like your mother's side of the family, your father's side of the family? Is there anybody who has a common name with a famous person? And there's another place you can look, and then start researching from what you know back to see that if you've got common things. And like we said, many famous families have their trees are available online, so you can go and have a look at them and see if there's any surnames on there that match up with surnames in your tree as well. And then you can start the research to see if you can make the connections. So it's always interesting from that point of view to find out. And I have one client, and she said, well, we've been told we're related to this historical figure. And she says either my second or third great grandmother supposedly had that last name. And so when I was researching the tree, I found out it was her second great grandmother. Then I found out her third great grandmother was related by marriage to another historical figure, because her brothers had married the daughter of the historical figure and his niece. But then a lot of stuff I've read about him said they were actually cousins. So her and this historical figure were actually cousins. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to explore that as well. And then her third great grandfather, his niece, married into a certain family, and the certain family was involved in a very well-known event taking place in history. We haven't found the actual connection yet to the family that was taking place, that was involved in this particular event, but the niece and her husband were in the right area at the right time. So they were actually in the location where this event was taking place at the time it was taking place. So the possibilities of them being related puts up around 90 to 95%. We just got to find we just got to do a little more digging on that side to find the connections. And then this last name that she was related to this historical figure. She was not a direct descendant of the historical figure, which is where the whole rumor started, because this historical figure never had any kids. But we're about 95% sure that there is a distant cousin relation because of where her branch of the tree comes in and where his branch of the tree comes in. We still have to make that actual connection between the two branches. But we're like around 95% sure that there is a family connection there. We need to find a few more details and confirm those sources first before we can say for definite yes. And it's the same with the niece. So there was a lot of stuff going on and a lot of historical stuff that happened within that particular branch of the family tree that is well documented as well. And so she was just astounded by the information that we had. And so people have come to me and said, well, I've heard rumors that relate to this. Okay, well, how does the family story go on how the relationship works? How are you related? And some of us are like, well, I don't know. It just comes in on this side of the family. And other people will go, well, my father would tell me, my grandmother on my father's side, so my father's mother would tell me these stories. And I said, okay. And so we would listen to the stories. I would pull out bits of information and use those to help research. And then we could either confirm or deny. So so when you're finding if you're related to someone, always start, is there a family rumor that you are related, and which side of the tree does it come on? Do you have any last names in your family tree that are similar to the ones of the famous person? But you've always got to start with what you know. What do you know? And take it from there. And it will take a while to find. It's not something that can be found out very easily. Well, actually, depending on how available the records are, it may be easier to find than some other connections that I have worked on. It all depends on records that are available. So I hope that helps, Stephanie, answer your question about if you're related to anyone famous. Again, start with what you know. Question the family about the rumor. Is it from father's side or mother's side? So you know which side to concentrate on the research. Do you or anybody in your ancestry have similar names have the same name somewhere along the way that is the same as the last person's name? And remember, some famous people are known by different names, so you have to make sure that you're under their birth name, not their famous name. So if they are a singer or an actor and they were born somebody else, you have to make sure that you're looking up the birth records for that person, not trying to find records on the name that they currently have, that you know them for. So there is that as well. So make sure that you follow that. But anyway, Stephanie, I hope that answers your questions, and thank you for submitting your question. I love questions coming in. If you have a question about researching family tree, it could be, how do you find something? I've got a blockage here. How do I get around it? What do these terms mean? Anything relating to researching a family tree, just private message me or drop a question into the comments below, and your question could end up being our question of the week on family tree research. So have a super fantastic, that's it from me for today. Have a super fantastic sparkling weekend. Hang on, we're only on Tuesday. Have a super fantastic sparkling rest of your evening, and we will catch you back here bright and early tomorrow morning for Winning Wednesday. Hei konera.